welcome back to the Imaginary Gallery. It's TJ, your host. We are in the Narcissist Trash Talk. I will be sharing with you a few instances of situations where the narcissist or other cluster B creature often tells on itself. You just have to know how to listen. Now, others have made videos with that type of title. That's why I didn't. It's the same theme. They do tell on themselves. I don't think they intend to, but if you have a good ear and you're listening, you may be able to pick up on this. And then in the last part of this video, I'll be taking some information from a book of which covers characteristics comparing a love or open system with that of an addiction or closed system in regards to relationships, which is very telling. This brings us to example number 1. I was involved with a creature after the long-term 11-year thing was over, and I was rebuilding my life back together, moved into my own home, and was putting it all together, and I had met this creature in the meantime that wanted to go out. And I figured, oh, sure, why not? Even though I was very busy with the house and rebuilding and putting things together, I'd seen this creature for a while, and I would bring up subjects with this creature involving the situation I went through, clarifying why, look, if you want to hang out, that's fine. I'm not interested in getting serious with anybody anytime soon, so don't get any ideas. And the creature said,
oh, I'm the same way.
So I figured, okay, well, you're safe then, and I kept hanging around with it. Several weeks into this thing, all of a sudden it claims,
I have fallen in love with you.
And of course I went back to the beginning and said, wait a second, I thought when we met I made it clear to you that I wasn't interested in anything serious. I got the response,
well, what would you have done if I would have told you I was looking for a relationship?
That right there is a red flag that I did not pick up on, which is basically saying,
I'll say whatever I need to say to get whatever reaction I want. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter.
I didn't have any clue at that time. I just listened and thought, people are different. Even with this, I clarified my position, and then it became like a game where this creature was pulling the trick they like to pull.
Oh, I know you were hurt by someone else. That wasn't your fault. I'm gonna prove to you that I'm not like that.
And it's like nobody's asking you to prove anything. Regardless, I still hung around with it, which is probably the mistake, because it was continuing to push, and I would try to keep it casual and say, look, you haven't been through what I've been through, so you don't understand. And of course, this creature would try to say its experience was more valid than mine, even though it was like 9 years less. Privately, I was kind of auditioning this person, who was, of course, telling me,
oh, I'm everything the others aren't, and I'm so much better in this and that.
It was trying all this time to sell itself with words. Some action, but mostly words. So I was being careful and treating it like a trial type thing. I had already spoken about the last creature, and I did it kind of in a form of a tirade. I was saying, I'm through with these relationships. You know why? Because people do this, and I would go through a list, and the creature would just sit and listen. But at one point, I had already discussed certain instances about the situation I'd gone through and why it was horrible. Typically, the person would mirror back.
Oh, yes, that's terrible. I had that happen, too.
But at one point, there was a conversation where I was simply saying that I was involved with this previous person who was secretly seeing another person, and it slowly became obvious that that was what was happening. Plus, I could detect that the person was gone all the time, and the car was always over at that person's home. It all just fit together, which, by the way, turned out to be 100% accurate. It just took a while for the creature to admit. I was talking with this person, expecting to receive the understanding of what I was discussing. And you would think that such a person would understand your side. So I was just telling all the details as far as what led me to believe this thing was going on, and that I pretty much picked up on the scent. There's another person involved here, and it's being kept from me. But when I told this creature that I had told the other creature, I know what's going on, you are doing this thing with this person, and I told it, that person had the nerve to say,
well, if you're going to accuse me of doing that, I might as well do it.
A typical narcopathic line. The idea here was for the listener to think, oh my goodness, isn't that sickening? Like this person's making you responsible for its behaviors. But instead, that's not what I heard. This creature had the nerve to actually say, well,
I don't believe it. I'd say the same thing. If you're going to accuse me of that, I might as well do it.
And I did not pick up on that red flag. I just thought, what? It was a red flag that I ignored because it turned out to be just like those other creatures. Yes, it told on itself. It's like it was trying to mirror up to this point, but then when it heard that line, it just couldn't resist jumping in, and the real creature came out saying, well, sure, I'd do the same thing. If you're going to accuse me, I might as well. And I should have realized at that point, this is a dead end. but of course I didn't, till much later. This brings us to example number 2. I was again recently out of that horrific situation with a long term, just trying to find my way and be social. I came across a creature who was living with its partner, but claims they were through, and flirted, because I'd hung out with them once together, told them my horrible story, because I knew its partner from my workplace. New. I didn't know it previously, but I'd been talking to this person about my situation and how I didn't trust anybody because they lie, and this one made sure to say the absolute term,
"Oh, I never lie."
And I just listened and thought, really? You never lie? Then, at one point, called out of the blue and said, hey, I want to come see you. And I just asked a simple question, because this person did not have its own car, yet it came over to see me in a car, and I'd say, well, how did you get a car?
"Oh, I got it from the partner."
I figured, okay, you two aren't together, but isn't that kind of fishy of you bringing the car here to see another person that you're chasing? It said,
"Oh, I just told my partner that I was going to see so-and-so."
Somebody else. Right off the bat, I caught on to that and I said, that's a lie. I just was caught up in the excitement of some new person, finding it interesting, but kind of just went over my head when I heard that. Little did I know, though, if I were to have switched and become that person's partner, it would have been doing the very same thing to me, because it turned out they still were together. It was just trying to swindle or hustle other people. And the third and last example for this way these creatures will give themselves away if you're involved with one. And like in my situation, I'd lived with the person for all those years, and all of a sudden its behavior changed. It kind of told on itself when it started to get its hair done differently, get some new perfume. All of a sudden had these plans that used to be we're doing this, and now it's I'm doing this. And that kind of stuff is just telling on itself, because none of this had ever happened for all the years beforehand. So then here I was seeing this new person doing these new things, and it was telling me what it was without telling. Now, of course, I would say, I think this is what this is. It would do the gaslighting, game manipulation, abuse by just saying, oh, you're paranoid. No, honey, I wasn't. I was right on the nose, and it was evil for it to continue to claim I was wrong over and over when I was right from the very start.
Next,
I'll be covering something I found that was interesting in a book, Codependent No More: How to Stop Controlling Others and Start Caring for Yourself, which is written by Melody Beattie. It's just one small section I thought I would share that I found interesting because I've been involved in various relationships of various types, and I found this little chart she's put into her book. She's talking about codependency, which may or may not be a word anymore. The concepts in the book fit very well with cluster B creatures, regardless of the label they give the particular problem, which I've always talked about how labels aren't really that important. Toxic is the key word. But what she's doing is comparing a love relationship, which would be an open system, she calls it, versus an addiction type relationship, which is considered a closed system. She gives a list of examples on each side. I'll go down the list and compare side by side. In the love system, there's room to grow, to expand, desire for the other person to grow. In the closed system, dependent, based on security and comfort, use intensity of need and infatuation as proof of love, be fear, insecurity, loneliness. On the love open system, separate interests, other friends, maintain other meaningful relationships. On the addiction closed system, it's total involvement, limited social life, neglect old friends and old interests. On the love open system, encouragement of each other's expanding, secure in your own worth. Addiction closed system, preoccupation with others' behavior, dependent on others' approval for own identity and self-worth. On the love open system, trust and openness is present. On the addiction closed, it's jealousy, possessiveness, fears competition, protects supply. On the love open system, mutual integrity preserved. On the closed addiction, it's one partner's needs suspended for the others and self-deprivation. The love open system, willingness to risk and be real. The closed addiction side, search for perfect invulnerability, eliminates possible risks. The love open system, room for exploration of feelings in and of relationships. On the addiction closed side, reassurance through repeated ritualized activity. And the last one, on the love open side, ability to enjoy being alone. And on the addiction closed side, intolerance, unable to endure separation, even in conflict. Hang on even tighter. Undergo withdrawal, loss of appetite, restless, lethargic, disoriented agony. Then she covers breakups. On the love side, accept breakup without feeling a loss of own adequacy and self-worth. On the addiction closed side, feel inadequate, worthless, often one-sided decision. On the love open side, wants best for the partner, though apart, they can become friends. On the addiction closed side, it's violent ending, often hate the other, try to inflict pain, manipulation to get the other back. And then she covers one-sided addiction, which is only on the closed side, denial, fantasy, overestimation of others' commitment, seeks solutions outside self, drugs, alcohol, new lover, change of situation.
Hi there, sugar. I'm the Narcopath.
Looking at you.
I know you want some more of them confessions now, don't you?
I can tell. I can see it in your eyes. Oh. TJ tells me that you all always want to know why I guess he's referring to Narcopath, that when we're telling a lie and you've caught us in it, and sometimes you're right from the very start, you want to know why I keep it going, like I just keep telling you that the lie is the truth, as you point out evidence after evidence, and I just keep telling you, sorry, that evidence is wrong, sorry, you're paranoid. I know. I heard you say numerous times once I was discovered that you had told me what you thought was going on from day one. And why did I keep up this charade for so long? I'll tell you why, honey, because I have to win. If you catch me in something and I admit to it that I'm wrong about something, I can't live with that. No way. I will live in a fantasy world of lies and just keep insisting the lie's true, hoping if I repeat it enough, you'll believe it, which didn't work. I can't lose the game. Admitting to my lie would be losing the game, and I just can't do that. Sorry, that's my Narcopath rules. You wouldn't understand.
I was slapped.
Till I turned fluffy.
All my words slip away.